Hey guys, welcome back to another class with me. Today's class is going to be an adaptive yoga using a chair and two blocks. And what I've gone ahead and done is place one block on either side of the chair. It's important to make sure that your chair is not going to slide out from underneath of you. I even place mine kind of into the corner so that if anything does slip, which it shouldn't because I'm on a carpet, it's got a little bit of support behind me. But this is a great class to use if you have trouble with balance and you don't feel comfortable standing to do the poses. Also, if you're suffering from any injuries or any kind of permanent damage done with your lower half, feel free to utilize this yoga practice to help you still get in some nice stretching, some nice twisting. We're going to do a lot of adaptations to poses you would normally probably see in a typical vinyasa class, but we're going to do it in our chairs using our blocks to help support us. So what I want you guys to do to start this practice is just sit back with a nice straight spine, begin to close your eyes, keep your knees, hips width distance apart, and you can keep your palms up to receive or down for grounding. We're just going to begin with a couple minutes of a brief meditation, really getting us focused into this practice. And just begin by breathing in through your nose, taking a pause in between your inhalations and your exhalations, and breathing out through your nose. And just staying here for a few moments. Keeping your eyes closed, just call to mind what brings you here to this practice. I like to always start by saying, let's set an intention, and that intention can be a goal for this practice. Maybe you want to open up a little bit more, you want to get stronger, you want to feel more expansive in the postures, or maybe you just want to experience a little bit of peace for the day. Trying to give yourself this time during this practice to just let any kind of stress go, anything that's bothering us internally. Whatever you decide, make that your intention. Continuing to breathe in, pausing in between and exhaling through your nose. We're going to do 3 more breaths. Thinking about that intention, why we came to this practice today, and really just trying to give 100%. One more inhale in. And on the exhale, release your breath through your mouth with a nice lion's breath. Opening up that tongue and letting go of any excess energy. On the next inhale, we're going to raise our arms up as if we were coming into Tadasana pose, really stretching the spine nice and tall, feeling an alignment of our spine, looking up towards the sky. We're going to swan dive down towards our legs for a nice forward fold. And we're just going to hang here for a minute. Still seated. You shouldn't be falling off. Your bottom should be nicely placed into the seat so that you're very balanced. On an inhale, come up halfway. Nice flat back. Again, this is an adaptation to a normal flow. And on the exhale, fold forward. We're going to, on the inhale, reach up again to a nice tall mountain pose, arms over the head, stretching up towards the top, and on the exhale, letting our arms come down to either side. And we're going to do this 2 more times. We're going to start to open up our body, warming up our spine, warming up our back and our chest. So on the inhale, raising your arms up, Coming up to overhead, nice straight spine alignment, drop the shoulders looking up. On the exhale, swan dive down. Placing our hands on the ground. If this is too much of a stretch, feel free to bring those blocks in front of you, resting your hands on the blocks and just folding forward, hanging in this position. On an inhale, come up to halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms rise up, nice and slow. Bring our hands over top. And on the exhale, coming back down to our sides. Like I said, one more time, we'll go through this and then we'll move on. So on the inhale, raise your arms up, feeling a nice stretch. Exhale, swan dive down. Again, if you need, you can place your hands on the blocks, or if you have the stretch enough to touch the ground, feel that stretch. On the inhale, rising up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rising up back to Tadasana. Exhale, bringing our hands down to our side. So that should feel pretty good in the back and the spine, even in the chest. We're going to move into a couple of circle rotations with our shoulders, just really starting to loosen those up, because sometimes they get a little stiff in our practice or even throughout our day. So on the inhale, we're going to lift our shoulders up towards our ears. On the exhale, bringing them back down our spine and letting them slowly drop. Try not to rush through this practice. We're going to do this 5 times. So when you're ready, inhale those shoulders up. Exhale, opening up the chest, dropping our shoulders to the back, really feeling that rotation. 3 more times at your own pace. Inhaling up, exhaling, release the shoulders. This time we're going to do it 5 times in the opposite direction. So whichever way you started, just try to shift back. So this time I'm coming up my spine, bringing my shoulders up and releasing. Just rotating my body in a different direction. Really just helps to loosen up and release. One more time. And coming back to a neutral position, shoulders nice and relaxed. If you need to, you can wiggle your neck back and forth, just twisting left to right, waking up our body. Begin by dropping the head forward and maybe rotating back. Just slowly opening our body up to this beautiful practice. And take any last minute head rotations that you feel are necessary before coming back to a neutral spine. Make sure you have your blocks placed on either side of you at the highest level. So they should be standing up just like mine. Try to keep them close to the chair, just so that you're not overextending or reaching too far in. We're going to begin by doing some side stretching, similar to a half moon or even side plank, where we reach down like this. We're really just trying to stretch out the length of our side body. So on an inhale, we're going to raise our arms up to Tadasana. We're going to take our right arm and drop it down to this block on our right side. And we're just going to shift into a side opening stretch. If it helps, you can bend your arm if you want to get a little bit deeper, or if you want to take a challenge, drop your block down to a little bit lower of a position. You can go where your body feels best and just hold this position here. Make sure you're opening your chest up towards the sky, looking over your left shoulder. Chin should be in line with your shoulder. And on an exhale, bring that arm back up. This time we're going to rotate to the left. So we're going to drop our left arm down, leaning into our right side body, opening that up again If it serves you to go a little bit deeper, go ahead and do that. Just holding it here. Again, lining your chin up with your shoulder nice and straight, opening your chest up towards the sky. Try not to collapse in the chest. You really want to open up. Really feeling that stretch in the side body, but also getting that opening in the heart. And on your ready, coming back up to Tadasana and dropping the hands on either side. We're going to go through this rotation one more time. So when you're ready, on an inhale, lifting our arms up. Exhale, dropping our right arm to our block, leaning over and feeling this side stretch. Staying here for a breath. On an inhale, bringing that arm back up to the top. Exhale, dropping our left arm to the block, reaching our right arm up towards the sky, opening up that chest, staying here for a breath. On an inhale, raising our left arm. On an exhale, dropping both arms down to either side. We're gonna move into cat-cow. So if you're familiar with this position, normally you're on your knees and your hands in tabletop, and you're rotating your back up and down into opposite curved rotations. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna utilize our knees as we're seated here and just lean forward as we move into cow pose. We're gonna inhale in, arching our back. So I'm gonna turn myself so that you can see what I'm doing from the side, but you guys can just stay seated in the front. So we're inhaling, dropping our belly, looking back. And on the exhale, we're gonna round our spine. We're really feeling the stretch, dropping our chin to our chest. And we're gonna move through this 5 times at your own pace. So inhaling for cow. Exhaling for cat. Inhale for cow. Exhaling for cat. Inhaling for cow. Really see how far you can stretch your head back, almost as if you're touching your head to your middle of your spine. Exhaling for cow, from cat. And one more time, inhale for cow. And exhale for cat. So we just worked our whole upper body, giving ourselves a nice stretch. We're gonna now move on to our legs. And some of you might be confused, like how can we do this? It's very similar, except this time we're just gonna use our legs in conjunction with our chairs. Okay, so we're gonna go through Samskara B, incorporating our Warrior 1 and Warrior 2 pose, but again, we're gonna adapt it. So just make sure that at all times you're secure on your base. You don't wanna feel like you're leaning too far forward or leaning one way versus the other and you lose your balance. Just listen to the cues and follow along with each transition that I'm making. Okay, so on an inhale, we're gonna raise our arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. On an inhale, we're gonna come up to Tadasana, and we're gonna move into Warrior 1. So for this position, you're gonna take your right leg and make it perpendicular to your chair. Your left leg will drop back as if you were in a Warrior 1 standing. So you still kind of want your left foot angled on a 45, but I'm nice and secure on my base. But I'm still getting that stretch in my legs. My hips are facing forward as if I was standing in Warrior 1, and I'm just holding it here. Breathing in, holding this position, feeling that stretch. On an exhale, I'm gonna do a slight back bend. And then coming back to a neutral position, I'm gonna shift my legs and do the opposite side, the left side. So again, taking my left leg out, perpendicular to my chair, my right leg extends, my foot is still to 45, I'm secure on the base, my hips are turning forward, pointing in the same direction as my left foot, and I'm reaching my arms up nice and tall, holding it here, opening up my heart, feeling the stretch in my legs. And on an inhale, I'm going to take a slight back bend and then come back to neutral position the way that we started. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling our arms up and coming back for the exhale to a neutral position. Now we're going to go through that one more time. This time we're going to add on, including warrior two. Okay, so just take it slow and go through the different asana poses as I cue them. So on an inhale, raise your arms up to Tadasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, raise your arms up, moving into warrior one. So take that right leg perpendicular to our chair, left leg out, nice and straight. Make sure we're turning our hips forward in the direction of our knee, holding it here for 2 breaths. And on an exhale, opening up to warrior two. So our arms should be nice and straight. Our left foot turns slightly to be in line with our direction. Our hips are opening up towards the wall in front of us. And we're just standing here with a nice straight back. Don't lean too forward. Don't lean too back. Just nice and even. On an inhale, drop your left hand to your back, reaching up for warrior, reverse warrior. Holding it here, coming back to warrior two, coming back to warrior one, coming to a neutral seat, and folding forward. Stay here for a couple of breaths just to give our body a chance to stretch out. On an inhale, come up to halfway lift. Nice straight back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, raise those arms up to Tadasana. Shifting into warrior one on the left. So bringing our left leg parallel to our knee, pointing in that direction. Right leg is nice and straight. Reaching those arms up and twisting towards our front knee. Really feeling that nice stretch. We're going to stay here for 2 breaths. On an exhale, open up to warrior two. Again, right leg shifts a little bit, just in the direction. Feeling that stretch in the hip, in the chest. On an inhale, dropping our right arm to our lower left hip for reverse warrior, leaning back. Coming back to warrior two, to warrior one. And coming into neutral position and forward fold. Hanging here for a couple breaths. On an inhale, come up to halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, raise your arms up. And on the exhale, drop the arms back to neutral position. We're going to move into some hip openers that would typically be our balance postures. Okay, so if you're familiar with Eagle Asana, that's where we take our arms right and left, wrap them together, and typically we would be standing, crossing our legs. But we're going to do this seated, and then we're going to also do some adaptive pigeon poses in our seat before we kind of cool down and finish this series for today. All right? So on an inhale, I want you to raise your arms up. On the exhale, drop the arms, wrap the right underneath of the left, come into an eagle bound position with your arms. Now, if you want, you can scoot yourself a couple inches forward in your seat, but please make sure you feel grounded. I do not want you to be unbalanced, and really try to get your hands to be just below your nose. On an inhale, we're going to raise our right leg up, shift it out to the right a little bit, and then flip it around and see how far you can get your foot. Try to point it so that it's getting as close to behind your calf as possible. And we're just going to stay here with a nice straight back for a few breaths. This is a great detoxifying position because it shuts everything off and then opens it back up. And when we open our body back up, we feel this rush of blood to a lot of our joint areas, which is good if you have arthritis or inflammation. It just brings new life into these targeted areas. Just holding it here. On an inhale, I want you guys to fold forward just a little bit, giving a real constriction to the body. And on an exhale, lifting our leg up, dropping it down, releasing our arms up, and coming back to neutral position. So we're going to do the same thing on the left side. So just remember to switch your arms. So on an inhale, raising our arms up. On an exhale, dropping down, putting the left arm underneath, gripping that bind for eagle. On an inhale, we're going to lift our left leg, come out to the side, and then hook it around as tight as you can go without compromising the pose. If this is all you can get, just remember, point your toes, try to get it as close to behind your calves as possible, and sit up nice and straight. You want to try to get your elbows to align with your knees, so it's one straight line. And we're just going to hold this here. Again, cutting off all these areas, and when we open them back up, we feel this rush of prana to these targeted areas. And prana is breath, prana is blood, prana is life. So it's going to help clean out all of these tight, blocked joints. On an inhale, fold forward for a tight bind. And on an exhale, sit up, releasing the legs back to neutral, lifting our arms up and dropping them down to our side. The next pose that we're going to move into is on the ground, known as pigeon, but we can adapt this by doing a figure four. So this is a great hip opener, and if you're feeling flexible, I encourage you to push yourself a little bit to see how far you can go. We can use blocks here if they fit best for your situation, or you can just kind of work with, the space provided on the ground and your legs. But again, listen to what your body is saying. So on an inhale, we're going to hold our knee into our chest before we really move into our figure four / pigeon. It's kind of opening up the body. You can even take it over to the side, give it a nice stretch. And when you're ready, what I would like you to do is rest your ankle over top of your knee. Okay, now if this is too much, feel free to kind of just lift your leg up, maybe take it out to the side, maybe place a block underneath and just work this stretch. Okay, but if you can, I would like you to try to place your ankle over top like this. And if this is as far as you can go, then hold it here. We're gonna hold this for a couple minutes, okay? Because it's a really nice deep hip opener. You should be feeling this in your right hip crease. And if you feel a little bit more flexible, you can use the blocks to help you in this transition by placing them right in front, but I'm gonna have us stay here in this or extend forward for a deeper stretch. So you can keep the blocks here at the highest level, or if you're more flexible, you can fold forward and really just stay in this position, but don't forget to breathe because the breath is most important here. When we experience poses like this, a lot of times it triggers our anxiety and we want to just get out of it as fast as we can. But if we choose to fight through it and focus on our breath, focus on our inhale and our exhale, it takes that anxiety away. And that's something that we can apply off the mat in the real world by taking a moment to reevaluate the situation that we're in and working through it. So just continue to stay here. We're going to hold this for another minute. Continuing to breathe in and out. Feel that breath entering in through your nose, pausing at the top, and out through your nose. Training ourselves with the breath will help to reduce that anxiety, fight or flight response that we're experiencing in this position. So just stay, feeling that stretch. We hold a lot of tension in our hips, a lot of stress. This is where our anxiety gets triggered. So it's good to work these areas to open it up, to release that stress, and to know that we have this. We can get through anything just through our breath. On an inhale, I want you to slowly come back up to the way that we started, keeping your knees still bent. And then when you're ready, letting that leg go down towards the ground. If you would like, for a little counter stretch, you can hold on to your chair and just lift those hips up if you're feeling balanced. If you feel more secure just sitting in the chair, just move your hips back and forth, giving your body a little stretch before we do this on the left side. So again, listen to your body, pay attention to what it's telling you. If it's telling you, to slow down, slow down. If you feel a little bit more like you can push yourself, go ahead and do that. On an inhale, bringing that left leg up into the body, just hugging it here for a minute, trying to open up our hips. You can rock back and forth, stretching that leg out to the left a little bit. And when you're ready, placing that ankle on top of your knee. And you can see here, my left hip I struggle with opening that up as much as I can my right. So my limit might be a little bit less than I had on the right side, but we'll see, okay? So again, listen to your body, go where it tells you. My selection might be to raise my blocks up another level, so I'm not overly doing it because I don't want to hurt myself and I don't want to cause pain, okay? Because that pain can go from our hip area, but all the way up to our back if we're not careful. So on an inhale, raise those arms up, and exhale, fold over top. Listening to your body, if this is where you feel comfortable, just hold this here. Again, we're gonna stay in this for a couple minutes. But if you feel like you can push yourself a little bit further, bending forward over our leg, releasing our arms to where we feel most comfortable. Holding this here, tucking our chin into our chest and breathing. Do not forget to breathe. You're going to want to try to fidget. You're going to want to feel as if you can't hold this position, but you can, because we just did this on the right side and you survived. So you can do this again on the left. We have to even out our body and always do that when in a stressful position, coming back to the breath, breathing in through our nose, pausing at the top, and out through our nose for our exhale. Staying here, continuing to breathe. Tucking your chin, keeping your face and shoulders and arms relaxed. Breathing into the areas that are causing discomfort. Really feeling the breath circulating through the body. And when you're ready, slowly coming back up, lifting those arms up, coming back down to neutral, lifting that leg. Again, if you need to shake it out, you can rock your knees from side to side, or you can give yourself a nice counter stretch if you feel comfortable with a reverse plank or a bridge pose. Okay, and then coming back to neutral. We're just gonna end class with a couple little light stretches. All right, we're gonna take a modification of Goddess, which is also similar to Frog, in that you want your knees to be in line with your ankles. So we want to keep our legs nice and wide. And we just want to stay here. If you want, you can try to pull back on your knees gently. Don't do it forcefully. And just really embrace the stretch. Again, another hip opener. Breathing into any area that's causing discomfort. Just staying here for a few breaths. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Try to keep your body as still as possible. On an inhale, I want you guys to drop your right forearm to the top of your right thigh. Lift your left arm up to the sky and just hold it here for an adaptation of side angle, just to give our body a nice little stretch. Holding it for a breath. And then coming back to neutral, we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So drop your left forearm to the top of your left thigh, reaching that right arm up, keeping our chin in line with our shoulder, looking up, opening up the body, but still stretching out our lower half as well. And when you're ready, coming back to neutral. On the exhale, closing up that stretch. You should feel a nice release coming back to a neutral seated position. Feels really good. We're gonna do some twisting before we finish. So what I invite you to do is take your right arm and you can either hook it behind the back of the chair if that feels comfortable, or scooch your seat a little further towards the front and put your right hand at the base of your sits bones. So trying to, as if we were on the floor doing a seated twist, you want to put it right behind your sits bones, making sure your spine is nice and straight. We're going to twist to the right. So you can take your left hand, place it on the outside of your right knee, and just twist looking over your right shoulder towards the back of your room. Just holding this here for a few breaths. Really making sure your spine is nice and straight. You don't want to collapse the back. We're just releasing any last bit of tension. On the exhale, coming back to neutral. And we're going to take the same thing on the left. So we want to take our left hand, put it behind our sits bones or hook it behind the back of our chair, making sure that our spine is nice and aligned, keeping our knees in line with the front of the room. We're going to take our right arm, place it on the outside of our left legs, keeping our back nice and straight, and just twist over to the left, looking over your left shoulder for a deeper twist. Tuck your lower belly in and see if you can open up another inch towards the back. Again, releasing any last discomfort. And on the exhale, coming back to a neutral position. I invite you to place your blocks underneath of your feet for our final asana, which will be an adaptation of Savasana. It's our final pose. I invite you to keep your back nice and straight. This just gives it a little lift, a little buffer underneath to take the pressure off of our legs. If you want, you can even extend them out a little bit further in front of you to kind of straighten your legs softly, okay, from the side, just so that you can see what it looks like. It would be like this. So just giving your legs a space to feel relaxed, feel unwind, and not holding pressure on your body. And you just want to make sure that your shoulders are nice and relaxed on your spine. If you want, you can do one more circle, just letting them go, keeping a nice straight spine, body's relaxed, arms are relaxed. They can hang at your sides if you want. You can rest them on the tops of your thighs, and just begin to close your eyes as we finish out this practice. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. I invite you to inhale for 4 breaths, pause for 3, and exhale for 6. This will take us into a nice, deep, meditative breath that allows the body to slow itself down. So inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Pausing for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Repeat that silently to yourself for 4 more breaths. Allow the body to just relax and be still. That's the hardest part of the practice, is just shutting off the mind and letting go. Keeping your eyes closed, bring your awareness back to the room. Begin to wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, maybe rotate your wrist and ankles. And when you're ready, just coming back the way that we started in a nice seated position. Bringing our hands to heart center, thinking about that intention we set at the beginning of this practice. Maybe it was to push ourselves, expand in the postures, focus on the breath, or just be at peace. Think about that intention and how you can continue that off the mat. Bowing your heads, I want to thank you for joining me today in this practice, embracing the different adaptations and poses. And I hope that for the rest of this day and the rest of the week and continued year, you all experience a sense of peace. And when you don't, come back to our breath work. Think about inhaling, taking a pause, and releasing all that doesn't serve us through our exhales. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll be doing another video with chair adaptations without props, so please feel free to join me again with the next video. Thank you.